Olá a todos, bem-vindos a mais um programa CINETURISMO. Hoje vou-vos dar a conhecer um novo destino, nomeadamente Geórgia do Sul, muito perto da Antártida, ou seja, no continente gelado. Quem vos irá fazer esta apresentação será um casal de amigos, também muitas vezes vencedores nos festivais Finisterra, quer no Brasil, quer em Portugal. O casal é o Andrey Andreev, que têm viajado pelo mundo. Eles têm uma empresa de turismo a nível internacional, onde com pequenos grupos fazem viagens e mostram esses locais a vários realizadores e produtores. E irei fazer vários programas com eles, até porque eles têm filmes muitíssimo bons, com muitos prémios, e então irei convidá-los possivelmente futuramente para participar em outros programas do CINETURISMO, mas hoje particularmente trago-vos um pequeno documentário, um filme que irá estrear este ano no Festival Finisterra Brasil. Portanto, é um filme que está em concurso, é um documentário de cerca de quase 30 minutos sobre a Geórgia do Sul. É muito bonito, é muito cinematográfico, conta uma história incrível de exploração e de exploradores e um pouco do que é esta viagem ao continente gelado que é a Antártida. Espero que gostem. Iremos ter uma breve introdução muito pequena, porque o tempo é limite para este programa, como sabem, então eles irão fazer uma pequena introdução e iremos seguidamente logo ver o filme.
Hello, amazing people. We are Olga and Andrey Andreev from Ukraine, from Paganel Studio. We're a great lovers of our planet. We've been traveling during 18 years in different countries. And traveling gives you the possibility to look at our human nature from different perspectives, and also to immerse in this wonderful nature all around us. Also, being green admirers of and lovers of the art, we try to combine everything together that delight us in our documentaries. And we are happy to share with you our new film, South Georgia in the Heart of the Wild. This is the amazing possibility, while visiting it, to see how our planet used to look like just several hundred years ago. Because in every place it was full and abundant with the wild fauna, with nature. And still we can witness it in South Georgia. So we are so happy to share it with you. And please enjoy looking at our film and immerse in these nature wonders. We wish joy, love, and happiness to everyone who is in this amazing Finisterra festival and also who share with us this planet. Please enjoy.
South Georgia, in the heart of the wild. Many people have never heard of South Georgia. And those who have often mistake it for the southern region of the U.S. state of Georgia, or the country of Georgia. However, a quick online search will reveal that South Georgia Island is one of the most pristine, awe-inspiring, and extraordinary places on Earth. The island's climate is frigid, heavily influenced by its proximity to Antarctica. Snowfall is frequent. Fierce winds roar across the landscape. And towering snow-capped mountains dominate the horizon. Churning seas, colossal icebergs drift past, adding to the wild beauty of the scene. Cold and wind, sun and snow, mountains and ice, fog and rain. On South Georgia, you can experience all these extremes in a single day. At first glance, this remote and forbidding landscape seems uninhabitable. Yet, remarkably, it teems with life. South Georgia boasts one of the highest concentrations of Antarctic wildlife anywhere on the planet. Here, you can witness sprawling colonies of penguins numbering over 1 million individuals, along with hundreds of thousands of elephant seals, fur seals, and countless seabirds. The surrounding waters, rich in krill, attract a staggering number of whales and other marine creatures. Beyond its natural wonders, South Georgia holds a place of historical significance. It was from this island that Sir Ernest Shackleton launched his legendary expeditions during the heroic age of Antarctic exploration. The island's rugged terrain and storied past make it a place of both awe and reverence. To sail to South Georgia, as the early Antarctic explorers did, was our dream and the ultimate goal of our expedition. Sailing these waters has always been fraught with danger. The powerful southern cyclones and tempestuous weather are frequent visitors here. Towering waves and relentless winds constantly remind us that we are navigating the 50th latitudes of the Southern Ocean. Only the most experienced and courageous sailors dare to venture into these treacherous seas. A truth that held 100, 200 years ago and remains unchanged today. Now, however, our journey is driven by curiosity. We are drawn to these remote waters aboard a yacht, compelled to explore the planet's most secluded and mysterious corners, places unlike any other. To follow in the footsteps of the great explorers, to feel the enduring spirit of adventure and discovery from a century ago. This was one of our objectives, though not the primary one. South Georgia, since its discovery, has borne witness to a series of harsh and tragic chapters in history. By the mid-19th century, the island saw the arrival of seal hunters, followed by whalers, who pursued the abundant marine life described by the first explorers. These early accounts spoke of vast populations of whales and other sea creatures, rich resources that humanity tragically exploited for their oil and fat. In the early 20th century, South Georgia became home to several large whaling stations, with settlements of Norwegian and British whalers springing up across the island. It was also a starting point for many grueling and hazardous Antarctic expeditions. No narrative about South Georgia is complete without recalling the Antarctic exploits of Ernest Shackleton. By 1914, Shackleton had already earned fame as a polar explorer, despite falling just 180 kilometers short of reaching the South Pole 4 years earlier. The South Pole was ultimately reached by Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen in 1912, a victory that dealt a blow to British pride. Determined to pursue an even grander ambition, Shackleton planned to land in Antarctica and traverse the entire continent via the South Pole. In December 1914, Shackleton's expedition aboard the Endurance departed from South Georgia. The ship became trapped in the ice and was eventually crushed, leaving the crew stranded. After months of fighting for survival, the team relocated to Elephant Island. In an extraordinary act of leadership, Shackleton and a small group of 6 men braved the perilous journey across a storm-ravaged ocean in a lifeboat, reaching South Georgia. Once there, Shackleton spent 36 grueling hours crossing the island's unforgiving glaciers and mountains to reach the whaling station at Stromness, ultimately securing the rescue of his crew. Although the expedition failed to achieve its original goal, the survival of every member under such dire conditions remains one of the greatest feats of leadership and endurance in exploration history. During his final expedition in 1922, Shackleton passed away and was buried on South Georgia. His grave remains one of the island's most visited sites. The whaling stations on South Georgia were abandoned by the mid-1960s. Their remains now serving as haunting reminders of humanity's brutal exploitation of marine life. But it was not the traces of these human endeavors, nor the deserted villages of whalers, that brought us here. Instead, we were drawn by the island's astonishingly restored natural beauty, a vision of life that thrives on the edge of the known world. Our journey was a challenging yacht expedition across thousands of nautical miles, through tempestuous seas, driven by the desire to witness the extraordinary. Hidden in this remote corner of the planet, the wildlife of South Georgia is nothing short of a natural miracle. In the chapters that follow, we will share what we saw on South Georgia, its breathtaking landscapes, its vibrant and untamed wildlife, and its profound, almost otherworldly beauty. This part of our planet, though it appears harsh, is brimming with vibrant life. Millions of creatures inhabit this cold world, considering it their comfortable and cozy home. When the numbers of animals humanity had been actively destroying in these regions began to approach zero, and some species completely disappeared, people finally came to their senses and started saving what was left. Thanks to the strict conservation measures of the last few decades and efforts to protect Antarctica's and South Georgia's wildlife, a true miracle occurred. The animal populations of South Georgia have almost entirely recovered, making it one of the most densely populated places for wildlife on our planet. During our expedition in October 2024, approximately 20 scientists and several million penguins of different species resided on the island, along with millions of birds and marine animals. The fate of the Kerguelen fur seal is particularly telling. In the 1830s, the species was thought to be extinct. However, a few hundred animals managed to survive, and their population has now fully recovered. Today, around 5 million individuals thrive on South Georgia, which is home to nearly 95% of the global population. In the spring and summer, during the breeding season, all the suitable beaches on South Georgia are completely filled with animals. Often, we had to carefully squeeze along the surf line to avoid disturbing them. I want to tell you a bit about how life is organized in the largest animal colonies we visited on the island. such as those at St. Andrews Bay, Gold Harbor, and Salisbury Plain. The beaches of St. Andrews Bay currently host about 500,000 king penguins and several 100,000 other creatures, including elephant seals, fur seals, and various birds. Arriving here, you are overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of life. The entire shoreline is densely packed with elephant seals, the largest pinniped mammals in the world. Nearly half of the global elephant seal population now resides in South Georgia. Adult male elephant seals, weighing up to 4 tons and equipped with imposing tusks, gather large harems of females. They constantly fight with other males to defend their territories or assert their dominance, growling loudly to stake their claim. After brief clashes, the defeated male retreats to a safe distance, and sometimes a threatening roar is enough to send a young rival away. Young and inexperienced elephant seals are easy to distinguish from seasoned harem masters by the scars covering their trunks, faces, and chests. In October and November, many females give birth to pups that resemble black furry caterpillars. These amusingly shaggy babies are fed for 3 to 4 weeks, during which the mothers communicate with them constantly. Elephant seals protect their skin from the sun and drying winds by tossing sand and pebbles onto their bodies, making them appear as though they are perpetually digging. Younger males often linger near the harems, lounging in rivers, scratching themselves in bliss, or playfully blowing bubbles in the water. However, if they spot an unaccompanied female, they may quickly attempt to court her, retreating to the ocean or the beach to avoid conflicts with dominant males. Near the shore, where the water is murky, courting attempts can sometimes end in mistakes, making it vital to swim away as fast as possible to avoid a fight. Young males also like to engage in quick fights among themselves, each defending its part of the beach, even if there are no females present. Fights between males can be deadly, as the immense weight of the combatants often crushes nearby pups, young females, or even penguins unable to escape. This is a leading cause of death for elephant seal pups during the summer. When an animal dies or is simply wounded, one of the most agile and dangerous land-air predators, the giant petrel, often called the hyena of Antarctica, appears. Petrels love to settle near colonies of penguins and marine mammals, taking advantage of fresh carcasses, finishing off the wounded, or stealing chicks and eggs from nests. In colonies, they often resemble fiends from hell, their feathers stained with blood. Each dead animal quickly draws a group of birds, sparking a frenzied fight for every piece of the body. Now, let's turn to the most prominent residents of this coast, king penguins. With over 1 million individuals in one place, their colonies are a cacophony of noise and activity. Many chicks, covered in brown fluff, stand together in large groups called nurseries, watched over by adult penguins. Early explorers mistook these brown chicks for a separate species and nicknamed them furry penguins. Only later did they realize these were juveniles, vastly different from their sleek, tuxedoed parents. Penguins in the colony can be divided into 3 groups. The first group consists of the numerous brown chicks gathered in large nurseries. These chicks are always under the watchful eyes of adult penguins while their parents are at sea catching fish and krill. Though the parents may be absent for several days, they always find their chicks by their distinctive calls, as penguins possess an almost perfect pitch. For several days after returning, the parents feed their chicks by regurgitating a special mixture into their mouths before heading back to sea. It takes 14 to 16 months for a chick to shed its fluff, grow feathers, and become independent enough to swim. The second group comprises adult penguins undergoing their annual molt, replacing old feathers with new ones. During this period, they cannot enter the water without risking hypothermia, so they remain ashore, fasting and losing up to 25% of their body weight. To regulate their body temperature, molting penguins often stand in rivers or near icy lakes. Large groups of molting penguins occasionally move together as if responding to an unseen command. They can be found far beyond the main colony, on mountain slopes or traversing snowy plains. The third group includes adult penguins tending to their young, having paired for the mating season and laid eggs. Navigating through the dense labyrinth of elephant seals on the beaches is no easy task, often requiring them to double back and find alternate paths to avoid being crushed. This group also includes younger adults, recently fledged, now learning to swim. Observing them in the water is a delightful experience. On Salisbury Plain, the wide beach provides ample space for penguins to enter the water, swim, and return to feed their chicks. An estimated 300,000 of them in this colony alone. The sight of penguins against snow-capped mountains, foggy seas, or icy plains is mesmerizing. King penguins, noble and elegant. Gentoo penguins, familiar from Antarctica. Blue-eyed crested cormorants, dazzlingly beautiful. And pin-tailed ducks, once nearly extinct, but now thriving, all create an extraordinary spectacle. South Georgia is one of the most remarkable and unforgettable places on Earth. As our expedition concluded, we felt privileged to have touched something so ancient, yet profoundly vital. Even as we departed, navigating stormy seas on our yacht to the Falkland Islands, we found ourselves dreaming of returning to this wild and wondrous land.
Então, e que tal? Gostaram? Ficaram com vontade de dar uma volta até a Antártida? Conhecer este belo continente gélido e frio, mas tão belo e tão natural, com esta vida selvagem incrível. Eu próprio espero um dia conseguir fazer uma das viagens. É efetivamente umas viagens de sonho, profissionais e pessoais, e visitar a Antártida. Este festival, este programa, é exatamente isso. Tentar levar até vocês aquilo que às vezes para nós é difícil, estas deslocações, não só pelo valor, pela deslocação, pelo tempo em si. É um pouco estas as nossas propostas, é um pouco levar-vos até vós, um pouco do mundo que nos rodeia. Até um próximo programa, CINETURISMO.